Welcome in to Talking Badgers here on YouTube, where, guess what? We talk all things Wisconsin Badgers. I'm Andy Coppins, publisher of Talking10.com and purveyor of all things Badgers too. With those pleasantries out of the way, let's get to Bucky's business this weekend. Big Ten play finally arrived for the Wisconsin Badgers on Saturday morning/afternoon at Camp Randall Stadium. Standing across the field with them were the Northwestern Wildcats, and seemingly anything goes when these two teams get together in West Division play. And that happened again on Saturday as Wisconsin used a third quarter flurry to withstand the Wildcats 33-24 to move to 4-0 on the season and 1-0 in Big Ten play. With another crazy matchup in this series in the books, what did we learn about the Badgers from this one? Well, here are my 3 takeaways from UW's win. Number 1 on my takeaway list is the fact that Wisconsin took a punch early and then delivered its own knockout punch. Now, going into this game, I knew the Badgers were going to get Northwestern's best effort. The Wildcats seem to love to play Wisconsin, no matter where it's at these days. So I was curious to see if the Badgers could hold up against a good opponent for the first time this season. And I honestly mean that with no disrespect to the 3 non-conference opponents Wisconsin has faced. But come on, have you seen Florida Atlantic, Utah State, and BYU so far? UGLY ugly. That said, UW literally coughed up an early lead to the Wildcats and were able to punch back with a knockout punch in the second half. 24 unanswered points coming out of the half pretty much put the game out of reach. It was exactly the response of a championship caliber team. Now sure, you can talk about getting off to a fast start, but it is all about how you finish. And after a rough offensive start, things came together just as it was needed the most. A win is a win in conference play, and that's what Wisconsin got on Saturday. Takeaway number 2, it's the fact that Alex Hornibrook can rebound from a bad performance after all. Now, there's no denying that the redshirt sophomore had a rough first half. He threw 2 interceptions and completed just 5 of 11 passes for a paltry 48 yards in the opening 2 quarters. He looked rattled and unsure of trusting what he was seeing out there, and that was a major problem. And it felt much like the day Hornibrook had against Florida Atlantic just a few weekends ago. However, unlike that contest against the Owls, Hornibrook used halftime to shake things off and came out firing in the second half. He went 6 of 9 for 149 yards and had a touchdown in the second half. That is the efficient and potentially dangerous Alex Hornibrook we've come to know and love. It was also a sign of positive growth for the guy who went into the season as the starter for the first time in his career. Now, if the Badgers are going to win the West Division title, Hornibrook needs to be the efficient game manager with the occasional ability to hit the deep ball, and that was the version that we saw on display both against BYU 2 weekends ago and the second half against Northwestern on Saturday. Number 3 in my takeaway list is the fact that Wisconsin's defense ratcheted up the pressure big time in this contest. Sure, it was sad to see a 3-game streak of no second half points fall by the wayside for Jim Leonard's crew. However, it was a testament to the strength of UW's defense that it even had that streak going, especially given the fact that it was playing about as vanilla as humanly possible in those 3 games. It was also a veteran move for a rookie defensive coordinator to play vanilla and then ratchet it up when it was at the right time. With a bye week to work on things, Leonard unleashed Wisconsin's defense, and it paid off in a major way. Blitzes were commonplace. So too were running backs going nowhere, passes being broken up, and Clayton Thorson running for his life. UW finished the game with 8 sacks, 10 tackles for loss, and gave up just 25 yards on the ground to the Wildcats. NU star running back Justin Jackson was held to 25 yards alone, while Clayton Thorson's negative 41 yards, mostly of the sack variety, led to a huge loss in the net rushing total. Garrett Dooley starred as he was finally completely unleashed at outside linebacker, picking up 8 total tackles, 4.5 tackles for loss, and having 3 sacks on the day. Fellow senior Dakota Dixon went nuts for 12 tackles to lead the team, including 1.5 tackles for loss and 1.5 sacks. Oh, and his safety partner Natrell Jamerson picked off a pair of Clayton Thorson passes, running one back for a touchdown to put the Badgers up 31-10 in the fourth quarter, and pretty much putting the final nail in the coffin. Jamerson's pick six was even due to the pressures UW's defense was dialing up in the face of Thornton, literally this time. Overall, this was Wisconsin's most impressive defensive performance of the season, even if it gave up the most points it has all year. Leonard's crew showed that what happened against bad offenses with a vanilla defense could be translated into the same kind of production against more talented offenses and more complex defenses. UW is going to face another interesting West Division test next weekend as it travels to the always difficult confines of Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, Nebraska for a tussle with the Cornhuskers. So it was good news to be able to see that UW's defense could really get out of its shell. We'll be covering that matchup all weekend at wisconsin.talking10.com and of course right here on Talking Badgers on YouTube. Please don't forget to subscribe. Tell your friends and your neighbors about the channel, and let's keep growing independent coverage of all things Big Ten. On that note, hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend, and as always, on Wisconsin.